The I-90 Surge is brought to you by Exter. Exter has made my favorite wallet for years, genuinely, and this is the new Card Holder Pro. Made from 100% recycled aluminum, I can push this metal trigger right here and fan out my card stack. It can hold up to 14 cards now, in addition to these, extra card carrying capacity right here. Exter also makes a full range of accessories, this one being my favorite, and it integrates perfectly with Apple Find My. So if I leave my wallet behind, boom, can find it on a map. Head to the link in the description below and use code OUTOFSPEC at checkout, and I appreciate Exter for sponsoring the Surge. This video is brought to you by Autel Energy. Autel is a fully vertical manufacturer powering up your electric cars with a wide range of chargers, from residential AC chargers to commercial DC chargers up to 640 kilowatts and upcoming MCS offerings. Head to autelenergy.com to find the right EVSE for you. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Motoring road trip. In fact, a road trip race with all of the longest range and fastest charging electric cars on sale in our market as of 2024. This is going to be absolutely epic. We are going to be racing some of these incredible electric cars all the way from here in Seattle, Washington to Boston, Massachusetts. Over 3,000 miles, the entire length of Interstate 90, which is why this is called the I-90 Surge. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through all of the cars, why we've chosen them, how they're spec'd, and then in the upcoming 3-part series to follow, you will join 30 people and 10 teams as we race from Seattle to Boston and all of these awesome EVs. So join us for another epic adventure. I love how I stumbled right there.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec road trip race. We're crossing the country again in the I-90 Surge. 10 cars where 30 people are heading from Seattle to Boston on Interstate 90, the longest highway in the USA. We'll cover over 3,000 miles through 13 states. It's a genuine battle of team optimization, charging infrastructure, and car capabilities to see who can road trip from coast to coast in the fastest legal time possible.
So we just got pulled over.
With speed caps in mind, it's up to each car to strategize best. We have the new Porsche Taycan with amazing charging, the Lucid Air with incredible range, Tesla Model S with fantastic software, the new Tesla Model 3 with magical, affordable efficiency, the Hyundai IONIQ 6 with a flat charging curve for perfect road tripping, the BMW i7 with luxurious comfort, the Genesis G80 Electric, which I forgot was a thing, and the Mercedes EQS balancing comfort, software, and good charging. These will all gauge the competence of modern long-range electric sedans. But we also have a very early Tesla Model S 85 to see how far we've come, and a gas car, an Acura TLX, to see how far we have yet to go to compete with good old-fashioned petrol. So join us in the wildest challenge we've ever done to see who gets first, who gets last, and all the insanity along the way.
This is gonna be something we never forget. We're not really racing at this point.
Oh, the i7's going for the race.
We're going in for the pass already.
It's a nice scenic overlook. We have all the time in the world.
Fresh off their police encounter.
Oh, it's been a full-on race.
What are you doing? No, stay back there, you jerk.
And we have pissed off absolutely everyone around us.
333!
Of course, here in the old Model S, we have no lane keeping and no active cruise control.
William, shit just got real.
And just like that, our confidence is starting to wane here.
Do you think we'll make it?
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel great. I think it's the chocolate milk and gas station food.
We've broken into the snacks.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
We've turned into team food.
So guys, listen, this Taycan is a beast. It's just game over.
The Lucid had to double back.
It's our chance.
Superchargers at 1 a.m. are the place to be.
Charging power reduced.
We got throttled.
We've been on zero for a long time.
Oh my! Stop charging again?
Oh no, we're having infrastructure issues.
I must say, the Badlands, they weren't that bad.
Processing. Please wait. Please wait.
And it's telling us battery critically low.
So I like to just start things out with a very basic question. Trump or Kamala?
This one's completely dead. We've just hit 40 kilowatts. I don't know why we've derated.
So both of the 350s
are completely down.
This one is derated to 80 kilowatts.
All right, foot is on the floor, and we are doing 28 miles an hour with a slight uphill, losing speed. Hazards are on.
50 miles an hour on the freeway. We're 30 miles an hour under what we should be going.
If it continues to get worse, we may want to try an AC charger.
Okay, we are resetting the driver assistance system through service mode.
We are getting screwed by this traffic.
Oh man.
Almost no chance.
This is the I-90 Surge.
Don't just move. Wait.
Amazing. I'll never get that.
Jordan joins me behind the camera, and there's 28 of our friends collectively either here in Seattle right now or on their way. And we figured rather than clogging up a whole driving portion of the video, Jordan, we would just share what the cars are, what we're doing, what the plan is in this video now, so people can place their bets as to who's going to end up in Boston first.
Right, typical 3-hour intro, but on the intro.
I first want to mention the cars. Let's start there, and then we'll get into the races, the rules of the race, because it's not as fast as you can drive. There are strict speed caps to keep it safe. This is very safety conscious, this drive, which is why 3 people are going to be in each of the 10 cars so that everyone's rested enough to complete the non-stop over 3,000 mile journey. But I want to start with these right here. Just about a year and a half ago, Jordan, we raced the Lucid Air, the Porsche Taycan, and the Tesla Model S from Fort Collins, Colorado to Las Vegas. We did a race to Vegas with these 3 cars, and we did a race to Vegas on the way and a return race to Vegas. And that's why these cars are up front, because these are some of the best road tripping electric cars on sale. And I thought, well, we got to do a rematch because some of the cars have had some updates. The Lucid has a big update for 2025 with even more range. We've actually driven this car over 500 miles at 70 miles an hour. I think it did 510.5 miles before we came off of 70 miles an hour. Absolutely insane. And the Porsche Taycan, the J1.2 as it's called, has received a massive upgrade with a bigger battery pack and even crazier charging. The Model S remains largely the same, except in that race, Jordan, this car won.
Which is crazy.
And it wasn't even on the Aero wheels at the time.
Right.
But because this is such a big program that we've put together, and I really want to thank everyone that's come to join us, we decided to put this car back to stock, and it's, you know, in its original form. But we also have some really cool cars behind us that we're going to be running as well. So of course, the big 3 fastest charging, longest range cars are complemented by some other vehicles in the category. Of course, the Mercedes EQS is an extremely efficient car with a very consistent charging profile and really good route planning and preconditioning logic. Drew and I took the EQS SUV on a recent race to Vegas where we did all of the SUVs and just found that Mercedes was consistent, repeatable, and was an awesome, comfortable car, and it actually almost beat Tesla both ways.
You guys were close.
It was close. So we wanted to invite Mercedes with the EQS sedan for this one. And of course the i7. The BMW, we of course had to have the i7 because if we're bringing EQS, this is the direct German competitor, if you will. Big luxury barge, comfortable massaging seats.
2 most comfortable cars right here, maybe.
I know, I'm driving the i7, by the way. It's got the most comfort in there. And this is a car, genuinely, I think we all forgot about. This is the Genesis G80 electric.
Well, most people don't think it's electric.
It's the Genesis Electrified G80.
Right.
Not technically eGMP platform, but same battery pack architecture-ish, so it's high-ish voltage and charges like a monster. It doesn't have like the big peak speeds of some of the, you know, Kia EV6 IONIQ 5, but it just sits at, you know, just under 200 kilowatts all the way to 80%. And so I really think this is going to have a fat charging curve and have a really good chance of doing well in this test. And then, okay, we thought we're bringing some really expensive cars along. I wanted to bring the longest range and fastest charging car from each automaker. So IONIQ 6 came to mind as a really good value proposition because this car charges unbelievably well, is incredibly efficient, but it was really important to me on all the cars that we had the right specs. I'll walk everyone through the specs, but we have the full range spec of this, and it's a really, really cool looking car, quite quirky, and eGMP, so 240 kilowatt charging. and it holds it deep into the pack.
They're confused about why we wanted the base model.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I need the Aero wheel car. We'll talk about how we got all the cars in this video. And then this is kind of an interesting one, Jordan.
Yes.
Tesla doesn't give cars to people to test.
Till now.
Till now. So a huge shout out to Tesla for actually supporting this drive. I told them we already had our Model S, and I'm like, we kind of looked at the degradation of the Model S we're running. It has some miles on it. They're like, that should be totally fine. They said this should keep right up with everyone. Model 3 long range rear wheel drive.
This is the Andreas spec.
We just picked up this car like a half hour ago. It had 12 miles on it. So I'm going to try and break it in a bit tonight. We'll go through all the nerd stuff on how everything's going to be set up. But this is the value play. Both of these cars are really the value play. And, I kind of wanted to show you don't need to spend all the money in the world, like a Lucid Taycan kind of money, to get really far in an electric car very quickly. Of course, we're going to find out if that's true or not throughout this test. Of course, charging infrastructure plays a big role into the cars as well. And so it is a bit of a charging infrastructure test. And that's where we come over here to this, the Acura TLX Type S.
Not electric.
Not built on Ultium.
Thank goodness.
It's not as low voltage as the other stuff, but combustion car. That's a comment we received a ton in these road trip races, whether it was the truck race, whether it was some of the other ones. Everyone's like, what would a combustion car do? And my thought was always, okay, you can just put in Google Maps and see. But I think for visual aspect and for everyone to have a competitor, this car is really going to set the pace and show how far off an electric car is running with the exact same test procedures and almost the exact same rules. I mean, the exact same rules as the other cars. This car is not as large as EQS or i7 or some of the other ones. It's sort of in the size category as Model 3 and IONIQ 6, but I requested the Type S, Jordan, the spicy one with the turbocharged V6, because then it will have somewhat of the fuel consumption of an equivalent large executive sedan.
Right, we're looking at 25 miles per gallon highway, 16-gallon tank, so decent range, but not one of those, hybrids that do 800 miles on a
and if you look behind you, we have another wild card showing up. Zoom in on that right there.
Oh yeah.
I also wanted to see how far electric vehicles have progressed since the first long-range, long-distance capable EV launched, which was the original Model S 85.
They're showing up late. Is that a pre-number too?
They had to do an airport run, and we had to get this video shot. But we will also have, essentially 8 of the cars as competitors, real hardcore competitors, the combustion car to see how far away we are, and the Model S 85, which is as fresh as we could find one, to see, okay, how was that original car back then? So Jordan, let's run through every car, some of the teams that'll be piloting them, a little bit of the nerd stuff about them, the spec on each one, and that way everyone can get into the mood and in the groove so that hopefully when they watch this series coming up over the next few weeks, they know everything they need to know about the cars. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
All right.
Do you want to commemorate the I-90 surge? All 10 of these cars went across the country in the most epic race of team optimization, efficiency, and charging that you've ever seen.
Whoa, where did they get that sweet shirt?
Great question. Head to shop.outaspecstudios.com and grab yours today. Wow, this guy's really on it. We have a variety of colors to choose from. Oh, and you like this hat? Well, that's over there too.
Yeah, I already got it.
Dang, that was fast. Just like our team.
Man, I love it.
So let's run through this drive after you've gotten a chance to see what the heck we're driving. Some of our friends behind us you'll see coming in and out of this shot. And Jordan, we've got a lot of people here. Let's just start there. I want to thank everyone who is taking, honestly, almost a week to do this out of their life because they have to fly here. We need to rest before the drive. We've got to get across to Boston, which is 3,000 miles, days of driving. And then even some of them are driving them back to Colorado so we can do more testing. So a huge shout out to everyone who is crazy enough to accept our invitation and join us. And we have some really cool people that you guys will see in the upcoming episodes. That's honestly even more exciting than the cars.
Right, it's a lot of hardcore people, enthusiasts, and they're actually acquainting themselves with the cars right now because some of them haven't driven some of these other cars, so they're using this as a good experiment to check them out. But we do have dedicated teams per car, which is,
and the real winner right here.
Yeah, we invited him. He said he already won. So
identical to my Nissan Leaf, by the way.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, what a race car. So the people are, that's what we are doing here. If it looks like we're tired shooting this video, we are. It has taken a lot of logistics to get all the cars here. Not only the people are amazing, but I want to give a shout out to the automakers that lent us their cars, even including Tesla, Porsche, Lucid, who else?
Mercedes.
Acura.
Yeah.
Yeah, Genesis we rented.
Right, we rented the Genesis.
Shout out to Avis. They hooked us up on a good deal though.
It was cool, yeah.
Everything else is coming from automakers, so that is really amazing from my side where, you know, we started basically out of spec as a stupid EV road tripping thing is what took off, and now we're able to call up automakers and borrow cars to say like, hey, we're gonna put like 5,000 miles on your car or 8,000 miles or 10,000 miles on your car. Is that okay? And they were all super supportive. So a big thank you to everyone who is letting us use these cars, test these cars, and show what they're capable of.
It's still a stupid EV road tripping thing, but we've learned a lot. We learn a lot, and we teach even the automakers sometimes.
Oh, they learn a ton from this stuff. And you know, the point of these races, we've now done a good solid 6 or 7 of these electric car races against each other.
Right.
It's not just to say this car is fastest from A to B. That's the premise of the series. It's really fun to do that, but we learn so much about the comfort, the idiosyncrasies of the cars, DC charge counters, BMW, a lot of things about them that you just wouldn't really know. And by the end of it, of course, we're gonna have individual podcasts with each team talking about what they learned about their car and really a deep review of that vehicle by the time we're ending this journey. So should we start with the cars?
Yes.
This one. No secret I'm a Taycan fan.
It's crazy that you're not even going to be in it. That's wild.
I thought everyone would give me crap if I drove the Taycan.
Right, yeah.
And I haven't driven a Taycan other than the first race to Vegas ever. Ryan drove it the second time. We did one, and he'll actually be in the Model S this time.
Yep.
And this is the car. This is so cool. We got the perfect spec Taycan. Actually, Jordan, all of these cars are the perfect specs.
That's why they're here.
Except for the Model S. We tried, but we're close. Big battery, rear drive. So we have specs on everything, right?
Yeah.
105 kilowatt hour gross, 98 usable.
97 point something, I think.
97.5 maybe. This is high 90 kilowatt hour usable, 105
New big
gross.
battery, yes.
320 kilowatt charging.
And it holds it like nothing else.
It's all about the curve and not about the peak. This has the peak and the curve.
Right.
Which is just insane. So if you want to see how the J12 platform charges, absolutely amazing. They use a new pouch cell in this one, NMC Chemistry 811 in terms of its parts content, but then the thermal management is just crazy.
You spent some time with this in Europe. It blew your expectations. The old Taycan was already a competitive car in today's market.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing.
And then they just went like, oh, we are, you know, just leapfrog everyone.
They didn't have to update it.
And actually my friend Mike, who is gonna come all the way from Germany to join us, he just won the ED 1000, which is a similar thing to this, but only 1,000 kilometers, a puny little race.
Yeah.
And they just won that in the new Taycan, beating the Amea, which charges at over 400 kilowatts.
Wow.
So it's not just about charging, it's about the efficiency of driving.
Right.
And so the reason this car is here is 2-speed transmission, single motor. You know, this car is built to cover distance quickly.
Even has the ugly aero wheels.
Yeah, we put these on. Porsche didn't spec these on, but I had the aero wheels laying around. I keep a set for Taycan testing, and so we've put on the aero wheels for this car. And the car's pretty fresh. We got it with just about 5,000 miles on it, and it's ready to rock and roll. Speaking of long range and fast charging, that's what this car is known for. The longest range electric car on sale, Jordan.
And maybe the highest peak, but it held it for like seconds.
It actually doesn't have the highest peak. I think Hummer EV Silverado will get up 380,
Yeah,
something
but
like that.
here.
Oh, here? Yes.
Yep,
This
yep.
is the fastest charging car in terms of peak speed here.
Yep.
And so we've got some people screaming off in the distance. I don't know what's up with that. This car is incredible.
It is.
And you know, to think that it's a similar size in terms of footprint to Taycan and has so much more room and so much more comfort, this is an incredible package. From a packaging standpoint, motor size, efficiency, we've just fallen in love with this in our long-term test of this particular car. What do you want to say about this particular car?
I mean, especially the newest one, 2025, with the hardware improvements under the UI. The UI is so snappy, on par with Tesla now. Definitely better software than Taycan. Taycan's still catching up, but this thing is reliable. It has really great range, as we've proven with our 70-mile-an-hour test. It would be fun to do an 80-mile-an-hour test. We might extrapolate some of that from this challenge because a lot of us will be doing more than 70. And so this isn't obviously quite as efficient as 70, but it just works on the road trip. Charging is going to be interesting. Really pretty good charging, but
it's got some idiosyncrasies too. Every single time we charge this car, it's slightly different. And one thing we should mention the prices while we go through the cars, $125,000 on this particular spec. And Taycan ranges from just under 100 to over 250,000.
Yep.
Depending on how you spec them.
You can get paint to sample up to 30,000.
Same with this car, right?
Yes.
Mid 70s, you can get a Lucid Air Pure somewhere.
69.9.
Is it 69.9? Okay, 69.9. And then 250,000 for a Sapphire.
It's crazy.
So huge price range.
This is the GT, so this is the maximum range, maximum aero, ugly wheels, which means good aerodynamics.
I think they look good in black.
Yeah, this is the blackout package, $130,000.
So part of this intro is we want to talk to everyone through our considerations on the car as well. Taycan can just rip and charge. There is no DC charging derating whatsoever. Even as the packs age, I've talked to the engineers on this car, we'll always do 320 kilowatts.
Yeah.
It's just always going to do it. The curve won't change. You'll have a little bit less capacity as cars age, but the thing is the previous generation Taycan battery lasted so long and exceeded all of the durability requirements. They're like, let's make it bigger and charge faster and go crazier.
Right.
Lucid has some weird intricacies when it comes to DC charging. So much so that we transported this car here. Because we want every car to perform at their maximum, right, Jordan?
Yes.
And so Lucid has this little DC charge counter thing. We learned it with our 2023 Lucid Air GT, my dad's car. And essentially what this will do is as you DC charge a bunch in a row, it will just limit, I'm not sure if it's the whole curve or the peak speeds a little bit over time.
They're not transparent about it, which is, I think, a bit frustrating as a nerdy owner, of many Lucid owners are. They're very enthusiastic.
We're sharing it.
Yeah.
So,
well, whatever we can learn about it.
And I'm not sure it's totally measurable all the time. I'm sure we're talking 30 seconds on a charging session or a minute from 10 to 80, something like that. But in these races, especially in the previous race to Vegas, it came down to milliseconds, not just seconds, over 800 miles. So we really want all the cars optimized as best as possible. So we have been AC charging this car as much as possible because, yes, you have a DC counter that will limit your DC performance, but you can earn it back with Lucid by AC charging. So we've been driving this car and only level 2 charging it for the last couple weeks, basically, as much as we possibly can. So I'm not sure what's dinging back there, but one of the cars. Anyway,
probably Genesis.
So this car, in terms of range on paper, longest range car here. In terms of charging performance on paper, fastest peak charging car. And also what really matters is like our 10% challenge, miles added per minute plugged into a charger. This technically has it, but only when it's at the beginning of the battery charging session, when you're at low state of charge. To charge deep into the pack, I'm pretty sure the Taycan crosses over.
Oh yeah, I mean Taycan holds what to 60, 300?
Taycan will not come off 300 kilowatts until 62, 63%.
Lucid won't hold 200 kilowatts past 45%.
Right.
At least in my
And it's a bigger battery, 118 kilowatt hours. So this is also the biggest battery car here.
Right.
They always say we're getting range with smaller batteries. There's no car here with a bigger battery.
Right. Which is impressive.
You can get a smaller battery Air. That's more efficient, the Pure.
Yeah.
But this is the big boy range one. And then the Model S, Jordan. This
Old
is,
Faithful.
We have real Old Faithful over here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But this is a Model S Plaid. And we're actually really trying to find a Model S long range, but there's a 9-mile EPA difference from this model year.
So it should be very close.
Should be very close. On the highway, certainly long range would be slightly better, but we have the aero wheels on this car and we're as close as we could possibly get it. We could not find anyone with a long range S on aeros that was fresh. We asked Tesla for one and they said, we'll give you a Model 3. Because they actually thought the Model 3 would be just as fast. And they wanted to showcase that car's value. And I'm like, yeah, cool, we'll bring that along and I'll bring my S. And they ran some simulations and even Tesla said this thing's gonna do great. So nothing to worry about on this. 250 kilowatt peak charging speeds. I've seen 268, 269 maximum when it's burning all the heat from the motors, warming up, but basically 250 kilowatts into the battery. So a significant decrease in peak charging performance when compared to Lucid and Taycan, but this has the charging network.
Right, one of 3 cars here using Tesla charging networks.
And That's, you know, a big portion of these.
It really could be. It might not be, but it could be. That's the big question.
We don't know. I feel like EA right now and EVgo and a lot of the networks we're going to be using are better than they've ever been in years, which is why I wanted to do this big program. We have not told any of the charge network operators that we're doing this.
So there's no specials, questionable
We haven't told anyone.
Being played, yeah.
I mean, Tesla knows because they gave us that car, but like, what are they going to do?
Anything.
So, you know, this only holds peak speed for like a 25% window of the charging session. It doesn't have a great curve, but it's going to be interesting to see how this performs because this beat the Lucid and the Taycan handily on the last 2 runs to Vegas and back, without question. And it, you know, you do, unfortunately or fortunately, depending, the infrastructure is part of the car.
Yeah.
And the car is part of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And Tesla has access to superchargers. They've opened it up to other automakers. Currently, we do not have any automakers that have access to superchargers here at the moment.
Right, it's pretty much trucks and SUVs.
Yeah, it's just Rivian and Ford.
Yep.
And GM, actually, sorry.
Yes.
So Celestiq wasn't available yet. Okay, so that's why these are up front, because this is the previous race, and people are familiar with these cars, and this one has about 30,000 miles on it. This is the highest mileage of the hardcore competitors here. But again, we looked into it, just maybe a couple kilowatt hours of degradation, and it should really be okay. I'm thrilled with that. We have this car. The Lucid has how many miles, Jordan?
7,000.
And the Taycan is 5. Everything's, you know, generally 10,000 or less, except for this one. Then we have the EQS. Sorry to walk in, guys. This is in, do we call it hearing aid beige?
It's not quite hearing aid beige, but it's the old spec, which is nice.
This is the luxury cruiser right here. This is when you've reached a point in your life when you just want comfort.
Massage seats.
Oh yeah.
Too many screens to know what to do with.
And the spec on this one, of course, 450 plus. Big battery, but what's interesting is this is the 2024 model year, so it's been updated. It has an improved brake pedal. Everyone knows we were complaining about Mercedes brake pedals for the longest time. They've improved it. But interestingly, if you guys watched our race to Vegas with the EQS SUV, that had the new battery in it. This, unfortunately, was held another year without the new battery. So next year it'll get the 118 kilowatt hour battery. Right now I think it's 107.8 kilowatt hours.
Yep.
Or 108.7. I always get the mix.
107.8.
107.8. Okay.
Yes.
It's like 107.8 FM. Yeah. Only listen to classical EQS music.
Right. In your brown on beige. Yeah.
It's a spec, but it is like a luxurious one. So it has all the comfort functions. It has the extra HEPA filters and everything inside. It's got the hyper screen in there.
This really is how Max spec'd his Polestar 2.
Yeah, it's like Max's Polestar 2 spec right here. And we have the Aero wheels. These are the 20-inch Aeros, and it's on the right tire, Goodyear, but I'm just trying to get the tire size. We just got this car today, so I haven't really had a chance to really dig into it, but we're gonna prep everything and set tire pressures. But this thing, we all know EQS, 200 kilowatt charging, 500 amps at roughly 400 volts. They're consistent, has great route planning. This car doesn't technically have the big numbers on paper, Jordan, but it always exceeds EPA range, and they always charge consistently. And sometimes that's what it takes in these races. It's just not to have a crazy outlier. It's just to be repeatable, consistent, and great.
The German consistency, yep.
Except for BMW, they didn't get the message, because here's what I've been concerned about with the i7. What's the battery pack size on this one? You put it in your list, right? I don't want to get it wrong. 105.7.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit smaller battery than this.
Close, though.
And I've got a slab up here, dude.
Right. This is a brick, especially in this color. It is literally just a brick.
It's awesome. This, no question, by the way, is the most luxurious car here.
You can see where the Rolls-Royce comes into play.
It's as close as you can get to a Rolls-Royce without the spirit of ecstasy.
Right. Pay extra for that.
Also, there's nothing under here except sound deadening. You hear nothing.
Lucid's like, we could fit 12 cubic feet of storage space. BMW's like, sound deadening.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there really is actually just nothing under here, because this is the single motor rear drive, just like this car.
Right.
So this is the eDrive 50, and again, really efficient considering the size. Always goes past its EPA range rating. However, Jordan, BMWs have a thing that I've been deathly worried about, and it's actually the reason I'm driving this across the country.
Right.
They tend to actually limit your DC fast charging performance after repeated sessions. Like Lucid does a little bit, they pull the curve a bit. I think down to 40 kilowatts.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
So i4 and iX for sure show the message, and they really dip. and they say you need to have the car stationary or AC charged for 48 hours.
Okay.
Which means we had to literally send someone here a couple days early to Seattle, park this car, AC charge this car for 2 days. So this car's been here for days. It's not been on a DC charger. We've reset the counter. So we'll see at what point if it happens. To be honest, I've never heard about it happening on an i7, only i4 and iX. I don't know how many people really road trip i7s like this long. I drove this, actually no, Shane drove this car up from San Francisco to here. He didn't hit the limit at all.
Okay.
So it's very possible that the i7 doesn't have it. It's just i4 and iX do, and this is a similar car, and I was really worried about hitting the limit on this particular one.
So not guaranteed, we'll see.
We'll find out. But anyway, we just, because I know the BMW people are commenting, we let it sit for 2 days, we've AC charged it, and I think when it does limit down to, you know, reduced charging performance, I think it like eventually works its way down to 40 kilowatts. We can apparently AC charge this car for 1 session and earn back the high-powered DC charging. So we may have to divert, find a level 2 for like 10, 15 minutes. It's just a guess. We're gonna get, or it might not be a problem at all. Spec on this one, Jordan. Full executive package.
It is lovely. Without the screen, but honestly, that's okay.
The only thing it's missing. It's got the big Bowers & Wilkins sound system. It's got all the driver assistance with hands-free, all the you name it.
Massage, heated, cooled seats.
We've had a chance to test every car here. This car has the best highway driver assistance of any of the cars competing.
Yep.
And the hogback tests show it too. BMW does well. We'll run this one with the latest and greatest in the hogback when we get it back to Colorado.
Yep.
So I'm going to be driving this because I'm a little bit worried about that 40 kilowatt charging thing. I want to play around with it. And I just thought everyone would give me crap if I took the Lucid or Taycan. And we have experts in each car that can optimize them. And so I just thought this on paper technically simulates to be the worst one.
Right.
I thought I would just take that.
Give it the best chance.
It's the most comfortable. Genesis G80. This is the car no one remembers exists. And they also make a SUV one, GV70 electric. Did you know that, Jordan?
I didn't even know that.
Really?
Yeah, Daniel didn't.
You didn't know that? That's amazing.
I keep forgetting they're there. I love them.
They have the GV60, GV70, and G80.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I knew the GV60 and G80.
Yeah.
GV70 slipped under my
radar. We have a video on Out of Spec Reviews testing it. Let's show everyone the front of it. It's kind of a cool looking car. It looks just like a normal Genesis G80. It was really fun to watch you figure out how to plug it in earlier today.
Yes.
It took Jordan like 10 minutes. I wasn't going to tell him where to plug it in until he found the charging port, which is hidden right there. But they put the stupid dangly things on this.
Oh, on both?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's going to be really, that's going to hold up.
That's going to slow them down.
They might rip it off. It's an Avis rental. I bought the insurance. Avis will return your car properly. Genesis didn't have any of these in the fleet because it's actually getting a mid-cycle refresh for next model year. So we missed it by a few months. So maybe next year we can invite this car back with some of the updates. It's getting a bigger battery. Surprisingly small battery in this, 86-ish kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
So on paper, this is one of the lower range ones, but based off of some of our friends in the industry who's tested this car, 300 miles on the highway is not unreasonable to think it can do. So that's good.
Especially plus, good charging.
Yeah, plus good charging. Our friend Corbin, the IONIQ guy, who has a great YouTube channel focusing on eGMP and other cars of this genre, updated this to the latest software. He brought a USB stick and doesn't do over-the-air software updates, I guess. So
those are the nerds we need driving these things.
We're not making a good commercial for Genesis right here, are we? But we got it updated. It can precondition now. We don't know if it will pre-chill on the way to chargers or just warm up. You might need CCNC, which is the new infotainment module here. And I'll run through the prices of all the cars at the end because I know I'm missing them.
Yeah.
And then this. This is going to be super competitive.
It's really interesting that it's here.
All of these cars, just like when we started getting a few more EQS, i7, then I'm like, let's just get every long range fast charging car. And we were lucky that we did. And this had to be here, Jordan, because 240 kilowatt charging and not just a quick peak and then it's dead. It just sits there for a while. And it's same as EV6 IONIQ 5 that we know and love. And this car is pre-refresh. Keep in mind, this car is also getting the new bigger battery that IONIQ 5N and all those ones have next year.
So next year we have to do it all over again because Mercedes and Genesis. And
I mean, that's like every year. There's always going to be new models and stuff coming out. But dude, this thing is going to absolutely rock. 360 plus miles of EPA rated range.
That's really great.
And this is, interestingly, you can only get the Aero wheels, let's show everyone those, on the base trim.
So this is the SE.
This is the SE, no sunroof, cloth seats. Let's show everyone. This is the honest man.
No surround view camera.
Look at that interior.
It has a non-auto dimming rearview mirror.
Right.
Which is crazy.
But it does have USB-C ports, which this only has USB-A ports.
Yes. Although USB-A is for the data transfer on this. So if you want CarPlay, you have to use USB-A.
Okay, but I heard it's getting wireless CarPlay over the air software update.
Which will be nice. Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm really excited to see how this car does.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Then this was really the wild card for me.
Yeah.
Because we just recently tested the Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive, and it did 370 miles at 70 miles an hour.
Which is so impressive.
It's so efficient, it's magical.
Blew past EPA, which Tesla has never done historically, so pretty wild.
Yeah, they did with the LFP in the previous gen Model 3, but then other than that, Tesla's never reached their EPA range rating, Jordan, and the all-wheel drive version did. So here we have the standard with the big battery, I guess is the best way to put it?
Yeah, rear wheel drive.
Does it get the good sound system?
No.
Okay, so it's kind of a weird mix.
Kind of a base model, but like long range spec.
So long range, rear drive, $43,000-ish, depending on spec.
About the same price as IONIQ 6, yep.
Yep, and I think this could really, if this beats the Model S,
that'll be interesting.
That'll be really interesting, because the one thing, we just picked up this car today, we don't know if this is the Panasonic or LG battery. Actually, Jordan, I do, it's the Panasonic battery, because it qualifies for the tax credit.
Right.
So that's the one weird thing with Tesla, is they put a little bit different batteries in cars and don't always tell everyone. This is the one you want. Panasonic, rear drive, big battery. It boils down to the ultimate essence of Model 3, the launch specification back in 2017, big battery, rear drive, very efficient, great charging, 250 kilowatts. We're gonna see how this new Panasonic battery does. It may not be as good as the older, like in my Model 3, I have the 74 kilowatt hour Panasonic. This is 82, and then 78 usable, something like that.
Yep.
The thing is though, if this can even remotely keep up with the big boys, same with IONIQ 6, bargain of the century. Already this car is a bargain.
This is the underdog that will win, so.
Well, we don't know. The IONIQ 6 might be the underdog that wins. So ultimately, we have a great collection of cars here that are competing, but we've brought along two other cars that are not part of the competitive set that really are here to set a benchmark time.
I initially suggested them as a joke, and then...
Well, then I called my friends at Acura, and I'm like, we need a combustion car.
Right.
Acura TLX Type S. First of all, styling, awesome.
Yeah.
Turbocharged V6. It's spicy. Think BMW M340i competitor, but a little less money, maybe a little less exciting to drive than those particular ones, but still an awesome, enthusiast-esque, right on the borderline of enthusiast car. If this had a manual, it'd be game over.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But it's got shouty, super handling, all-wheel drive. We love that. And this is going to be the combustion car to go across the country. The thing is, I mentioned in the intro, it's the size of some of the smaller ones with the fuel consumption of some of the equivalent bigger ones. So it really fits this nice gap down the middle. So it's surprisingly not the most efficient car, and we chose that on purpose. 25 mpg according to EPA.
City, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
This car's broken in, has over 5,000 miles on it. It might do pretty well, but essentially this is going to be kept to the same rules, which we'll get into in a minute. It'll be really interesting to see how this does on the trip. For sure, if everything goes well, as long as they don't get a flat tire, we know it should win, but by how much?
Yep.
I don't actually think it's going to be that far ahead compared to some of the other ones.
We're so curious.
That's the thing, we never know with these, and something always shocks us. I mean, across the country, the Cybertruck and Silverado were within minutes of each other. From Vegas to Fort Collins or to Colton's shop, we were within milliseconds. We were racing in.
Yeah.
And anyway, then we have the old girl here. I have to give a huge shout out to our friends at Conduit who let us borrow this.
Super cool.
So, of course, everyone's familiar with QC Charge. They've fixed my Leaf in the past. They have my B-Class right now that they're working on. My friend Brent actually just purchased the business from Tony, and Tony's been a legendary guy in the EV world for a really long time. He's now out of the business, and as part of this rejuvenation of their shop, they've started Conduit EV, which is sort of a EV repair and upgrade situation. They specialize in RAV4 EVs, B-Class, and Tesla, and others, and they have a shop in the San Diego area. It's near Oceanside, I think Vista, California. And I was calling Brent because I was talking to him about my B-Class, and I'm like, dude, do you happen to have an old Model S? He's like, oh yeah, I got a Model S 85, first generation, built in early 2013. This is February 2013, one of the first few thousand Model S's ever made. I'm like, do you mind if I borrow it and drive it across the country for a video? He's like, no questions asked, go for it, take it. People are so cool.
Yeah, Tesla's made so many cars, and this has been 5,000?
Yeah, something like that.
So early. Feels very different.
Yeah, and so Jordan, we all know that when Model S launched, none of these cars would be here without this.
Yeah, some of them were never even in pre-development at that point.
Absolutely. I mean, and even some of the German brands were laughing at this car when it came out.
Yeah, it was unveiled in 2009, which is 15 years ago, and then it came out in 2012, and still looks pretty good, I'd say.
And so we had to bring it along because
see how far we've come.
I just drove this car 1,500 miles from San Diego up here. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So we've calculated some health stuff on it. We have about 90% capacity left in this car. The battery is as good as you can be. Brent's an EV nerd like us, so he leaves it at 30% all the time, and
love it.
Doesn't full charge it that often. So it's lived a pretty gentle life, which is perfect for a test like this. The only thing that is changed from new is it has the newer Slipstream 19-inch wheels on it. So these are the only non-factory component. Everything else, it's got the sound system, got the sunroof, no autopilot, no adaptive cruise, manual cruise only.
So cool.
Good luck to the crew driving this one. It's going to be a nice sightseeing tour because I got to tell you, after driving it up here, Jordan, it doesn't charge that great.
They're going to be sitting around taking in all of the scenery.
Actually, the best thing with this car is just to run it to zero every time. It peaks at 130 kilowatts, holds it to about 8%.
Oh gosh.
No joke. And so they just need to go supercharger to supercharger, out of spec style, and just run it low. The one thing with these, though, I'm a little bit worried about BMS, of course, after that many miles on a pack this old with as much mileage. It's actually only 120,000 miles. It's not that old. Some of them really do get up there. My friend Alex, who's going to be driving this car, who owns Wattworks, which was affiliated with QC Charge, and through this whole thing, he's now started his own shop, which is awesome, in the Portland, Oregon area. He has a Model S with almost 500,000 miles on it.
Amazing.
So he knows all about these cars. We already replaced the headlights in this one the other day. So we've got new xenons in this thing.
Nice.
Anyway, this is going to be basically where it all started, where all the cars, I think, need to get to in terms of road tripping time. And these are all of the top, fastest, long-range, fastest charging electric cars, et cetera, et cetera. Should we talk about the route?
The route and the rules.
The route and the rules. Well, obviously we're in Seattle, you can see behind us, and we're starting at Starbucks HQ.
Yep.
Maybe I shouldn't say that, because we may not fit in the parking lot tomorrow. I don't know. We're going to start here in Seattle.
Near the start of I-90.
And the goal is to get all the cars charged up to 100%, on AC chargers for like Lucid and i7, the ones that have counters on them, and get everything juiced up, ready to go, and we're going to pull out and jump onto I-90. That's why it's called the I-90 Surge. And we're going to run I-90 all the way from Seattle to Boston, which is 3,034 miles without the pull-offs for charging. That's crazy.
That's the longest highway in America, so.
Is it really?
Yes.
The longest? Okay, great. See, I'm learning as we go. How did we come up with this idea, Jordan?
Well, we did the trucks on the shortest highway in America. Well, the main, 10,
I-10.
20, 30, 40, whatever.
Yeah.
10 was the base of the shortest one. Shortest distance coast to coast.
Right.
Because they're trucks, 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour-ish.
We couldn't afford any longer.
Right, if we had done this one, we'd still be doing it.
Yes. And so now we're going, of course, sort of, we were thinking New York, LA, which like we do those all the time. I don't want it to be like a cannonball. It's not really a race of how fast you can drive. It's all about the cars to showcase. And then you were just in Seattle on a road trip with the Lucid, and we're like, oh, Seattle's like kind of on the coast-ish.
Yeah.
That could work. And then Boston's on the other side. Let's do that.
It just came together.
It just came together. So the rules of the race. We have 3 people in each car. And the purpose there are 3 people in each car is we have someone who's responsible for driving, and that is their focus. They are there to pilot the car safely. We have someone who's responsible to film when something interesting happens, or we're talking about strategy or getting to charging stations. So you have a driver, you have a filmer, and you have someone who's got to sleep.
Yep.
Literally, being awake for 50 plus hours is not safe to be on the road. So that's why there's 3 people where someone can rest. And thankfully, we're not doing this in sports cars. Yeah. We have luxury SUVs where people can relax, take a nap, take a breather. And that way, when whoever's in the driver's seat is fresh and awake. And we have really strict rules on speed. We will not be going as fast as we can drive. A maximum speed of 10 over the speed limit, which is what we do for all of our races. Mm-hmm. And that way we're, going, if it's a 60 zone, maximum 70. Some people may choose to go 60 to extend the range. It's all up to them. Typically, I don't recommend that, but we have experts in every car to know how to optimize them. And if we are in an 80 zone, which we may not be on this drive, the northern part of the country has typically lower speed limits than the southern part.
There's a couple 80 zones.
Yeah, a couple 80 zones, then no more than 85. Yep. That's the absolute maximum speed that we're able to go. Other than that, whatever people need to do to get the cars from A to B, they can do it.
So charging stops, whatever, listen to the car, do your own thing. Yeah, a lot of strategies in place. Holy cow.
Yeah, that thing sounded great. We're trying to be friendly stewards of the EV community, not pulling a max and unplugging someone from a 350 kilowatt station. So we're not allowed to sabotage any of the other cars. We can't break the rules. We don't really want to impact anyone else's drive. We understand that driving 10 cars through an already stressed infrastructure is pretty difficult, but I think we're going to be spaced out enough where it shouldn't be a big deal, Jordan.
Right.
At least that's the goal.
Yeah.
But of course, these do cause a strain, and we want to not impact anyone's drive as much as possible.
Yeah,
thankfully, all of us will be in and out of stations really quick.
Yeah, it's not a really heavily traveled route, especially with EVs, I think. So.
Yeah.
Which the infrastructure will be interesting for that reason.
Yeah, totally. So then it comes down to predictions. What do you think is going to win?
I really do think these three have a good chance.
I mean, we've called this the holy trinity of electric cars
partially
for
from their
long distance.
Partially from their history and everything. I still have to root for the underdogs, so that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I do think Model 3, IONIQ 6 will be very interesting to keep an eye on.
Certainly from a value price standpoint, the
Right.
package, what you get with those
They're
vehicles,
like
insane.
to a third of everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah. But they don't have massaging seats, so
right,
you know,
right.
worth
You know,
it to
got
spend
like
the money.
130-ish, 130, 120.
Yeah, let's run through the prices on all the cars. My prediction of who's going to win, I think it's all up to, assuming charging infrastructure is perfect, Lucid and Taycan.
Well, that's the thing too, is we'll see what the charging infrastructure does. But if charging works, you're right. It's between these two.
And these two, this is really where it started. I thought, let's rematch Lucid Taycan Model S, and then that all
We just kept
happened.
adding.
But you know, it's really, you know, it's the long range, high efficiency car versus fairly efficient, crazy charging.
Yep.
And you know, I've always been a believer in the fast charging side because efficiency isn't sexy. It's cool, it's nice, but like when they give you free charging, what do I care how efficient the car is?
Right.
But then I also care about efficiency when it comes to going as far as possible with the smallest batteries. Hell yeah, brother, VTEC life.
Total burnout.
Yeah, that was awesome. Hey, we've got an Acura over here. We can go join that guy. Okay, pricing on everything, Jordan. $130,000 as spec'd on the Lucid Air Grand Touring. This is the 2025 with the heat pump, with the updated everything. Taycan's $125,000.
Yep.
Rear drive, you know, 2025 J12. The Model S Plaid as spec'd today was $90,000. I wish I bought this when this was $90,000. It's not. The old Model S 85 back in the day, right? That's this number. It's not adjusted for inflation. Is 80,080.
Yeah.
80,080.
Yeah. Modern
So-
Elon would have done 80,085.
Yeah. And you know, 85 kilowatt hour battery
For
pack.
inflation, I don't know what that would be.
Oh, we didn't mention the Model S battery pack. 100 kilowatt hours plus or minus. Yeah. Okay, TLX Type S, $57,000, 15.8 gallon tank.
Yep.
20 mpg average.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not meant to be the long range car.
Right.
This is meant to be the reason we selected this was a performance equivalent to some of the electric cars because they're really fast, and also the efficiency equivalent to bridge the class gap that we have. So you could, of course, when we do this test at the end, when we do everything, we can run the numbers off what a Prius would get.
Right.
We can run the numbers off what a pickup truck would get.
Right.
And essentially, this is here for visual flair.
Right.
In terms of time, the time of those vehicles shouldn't really be any different. What's this? EQS? How much is this spec'd?
It was 130 something?
EQS 111.
111.
Wow,
Not
that's
bad.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And that's as spec'd?
Yes.
Okay, so it's got a lot of kit on here for 111.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. i7 130 for a rear drive i7. But I gotta tell you, Jeff at BMW spec'd this thing pretty high.
It's amazing.
It's got like, you know, BMW executive interior and all this crap. Okay. G80 electric. This is actually the one with the options.
Yes.
$81,000.
Not bad.
Seems like a lot of money. You say not bad?
Well,
it's got an 86 kilowatt hour
It's
pack.
executive-ish. It's for the people who maybe aren't road tripping, which is why this will be interesting.
No, it's someone who thinks they understand what a luxury car should be. The impression of a luxury car.
Right.
I think it's a really cool car. I've been spending some time with one, but certainly it's due for a refresh. Genesis agrees. They're refreshing the car.
Yep.
But we had to have it here because it is in the category. So, you know, shout out to Avis for stocking this. And you can just go rent one at any Avis location. They didn't sponsor it. I paid for the car, but I thought people would want to try it out. $44,000 for this IONIQ 6. That's a deal.
Yeah, and that's without any credits or anything. So
yeah, wow. This car is going to do, this I really have my eye on this car because when I drove it for the first time, I was like, I'd rather have IONIQ 5, but then the range on this on paper is so huge. So I cannot wait to see how it does for everyone here. So that's $44,000, and the Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, long range, 82 kilowatt hour pack gross, $42,500.
So close. It
Cheapest
is
car
crazy to
here.
see that this has ventilated seats, heated seats, auto-dimming mirror, all the things that this doesn't.
This is basically fully spec'd.
Yeah.
Without the luxury sound system or the premium sound system.
Yeah. But even the base LFP has all that. So
yeah.
It's like what they picture as a base model versus what Tesla pictures as a base model is very interesting.
Night and day. Basic autopilot on this one.
Yeah.
No premium connectivity, and we picked it up with 12 miles, and it just calibrated for autopilot. But really cool. I mean, that's so basically you have these cars are roughly the same price. You do get a lot of equipment with this. This has a higher peak charging speed.
Yeah.
But that has a better curve.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting to see everything going on. So anyway, put your predictions below. What do you think's going to win? What do you think's going to happen? Are you excited? Do you like these races? I can't thank, seriously, again, everyone for joining us on this drive. It's going to be absolutely epic. Can't thank the automakers for the support, and can't thank you guys enough for watching. Without our viewers, we wouldn't be able to do anything like this. And it's really a pinch yourself moment to be able to put together something like this. Don't you think, Jordan? It's
Agreed.
Just crazy.
It's unreal.
Totally unreal. So can't say we're always doing the best job at it, but we're trying our best.
We're trying. Time to go sleep.
Yeah, we definitely got to rest. We're going to Yard House for dinner.
Hell yeah, brother.
And then 10 a.m. we hit the road. Jordan wants to do 9 a.m. I think we got to sleep in.
I would do 7, but yeah, you're right. No,
Yeah.
after the truck race, we got to sleep in.
We got to sleep in. The truck race was a disaster in terms of prep. So thank you all so much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments is going to happen. I genuinely have no idea, as with all of these. It's all up between infrastructure, the teams, and the cars. You guys in the next video will get to see who's driving what car and their strategies, and we'll hit the road going to Boston very soon. So thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Motoring, not a road trip video, but a pre-road trip video, and we'll see you on another one again soon. Bye-bye.